Hello gang, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to ask the burning question, who's watching the Watchers? Snake oil salesmen have been around forever. Disinformation and propaganda have been around forever. It has always been important for us to be skeptical about people's claims and discriminating about our sources. But in this digital, global age of 24-hour news cycles and social media, where we're constantly deluged with information and there's not even the minimal protection of a network's concern for their reputation to foster a climate of accuracy and truth, both the challenge and the necessity of ensuring that you're getting good information have never been greater. One of the resources we turn to in an effort to vet information is fact checkers. These are websites or individuals who take the time to research various claims and statements for truthfulness. This is time and resources we don't as individuals necessarily have. But this raises an important question. How can we know that fact-checking websites are reliable and truthful? How do we know that we can trust them? Who watches the Watchers? Ultimately, it's on each of us as individuals to take the time to vet our sources and as much as possible eliminate or at least filter for biases. There is no shortcut here, but it's also not something I think we can afford to shirk. Not anymore. Conspiracy theories, propaganda, and bogus information are readily accessible, becoming mainstream, often masquerading as legitimate news and causing real harm. The consequences of apathy are just too high. So here are some guidelines for figuring out how reliable fact checkers are. First, and possibly of first importance, what are their sources? Are they specific or general? When you see phrases like sources say, but they lack any specificity, that's a red flag. Quoting a journalist's opinion of something the president said is not as reliable as quoting the president, him or herself. Now, anonymity happens, of course, even with true stories and reputable reporters. For example, some sources choose to remain anonymous to protect themselves from blowback. But without specificity, we should be skeptical of validity. This applies even more so when looking at fact-checking websites and articles. If the fact-checker hasn't gotten to the most relevant sources, how can they say they have actually fact-checked the claim? The very best fact-checking will go with primary sources for verification. What's even better is when those sources are actually linked in the article which is addressing the claim. Has the fact-checker only included quoted statements from the president, or have they actually linked to an official source, social media post, speech transcript, or video? Good fact checkers will present their evidence with references and make it clear when none can be found. Follow those references and any attached discussions to see the quality of the reference material they use. Another hallmark of a reliable fact-checking organization is whether or not they strive for objectivity and minimize editorializing. Are they using loaded language or neutral language? Are they simply reporting the facts of the situation, or do they characterize people in certain ways? Do they whitewash or attempt to soften or explain away when a favored side or individual gets something wrong? Or do they report it straight? Do they tend to only fact-check one side and not another? Do they show that they've made a good faith attempt to explore the issue honestly? Are there notable oversights in the information they provide? For example, if they are fact-checking a senator's speech and they omit the actual text of the speech in question. Or if they're fact-checking allegations against a CEO, have they included statements from both the accused and the accuser? Have they failed to cite relevant experts or professionals, indicating they might not have gone to those sources for information? Good fact-checkers don't just say that something is binary, true or false, because these things rarely are. They should have a way of categorizing that shows nuance. What in the claim is real and what isn't? What is real but taken out of context or exaggerated? And lastly, what is their track record? How often are they proven to be in error? And how do they behave when an error is found? If they acknowledge and correct it, and then add this as an update to the published article with a note saying that they did so, that's a good sign. If they claim that the one pointing out the error is part of a deep conspiracy and can't be trusted, then they're likely untrustworthy. That's a red flag. Of course, always remember that no one person or website is free from error. Even the reliable fact checkers get it wrong sometimes. And so don't just use one source, especially when it comes to the big questions. With the advent of the information age and the freewheeling nature of the internet, it is more important now than ever before in history to be less credulous and more critical of the stories and claims with which we are presented. I hope you find this information useful. I'm going to put some links to fact-checking organizations that I feel are reliable in the video description below. If you liked this video, be sure to share, subscribe, and give us a thumbs up. Thumbs down if you didn't like it. I won't judge. And as always, be kind to one another. Great. Now there's a car alarm going off in my background, and I'm sure that's being picked up on the mic, so I can't use this.